Welcome back, audience. The world we live in is a battlefield not of soldiers and weapons, but of minds and spirits. It is a place where the strongest survive and the weakest crumble under the pressure of their own insecurity. And in this world, there are people who walk among us pretending to be untouchable, pretending to be unbreakable. But what they fail to understand is this: every person has a weakness. Every person has a point where they will falter, a point where their confidence will crumble. And you found that weakness. You exposed it to the light. And now they're spiraling fast because the truth is terrifying. They never thought anyone would see what was hiding behind the mask they wore. But you saw it. And now they're sinking into a darkness they can't escape. And you've done this. You've made them face what they could never run from. It's a power like no other, the power to see someone for what they truly are, not for the face they put on to deceive the world, but for the raw truth beneath. That truth can be a weapon if used correctly, but most people don't know how to wield it. They don't understand the destructive force of knowing another person's deepest fear, their most vulnerable flaw. But you do. You saw their weakness and you exposed it. And now they're unraveling. Every day is another step closer to the abyss for them. You didn't even have to strike with force. You didn't need a weapon. All you needed was knowledge, the knowledge of who they really are. And with that knowledge, you've broken them. The illusion is shattered. They can no longer pretend. They can no longer hide behind their walls of arrogance and pride. The truth is out, and they can't handle it. For them, the world was a place where they could control everything, manipulate everything, make people believe what they wanted them to believe. They were the puppet master pulling the strings of everyone around them. They were the ones who set the rules and expected others to follow them. But you came into their life, and you became the one thing they could never control. You exposed their true self, the self they worked so hard to bury. And now, they are spiraling because the weight of their own lies is too much to bear. Every day they wake up and see the world through a different lens. The mask they wore is gone. Their facade is destroyed, and they have nothing left to hide behind. It's a cruel thing to expose someone's weakness, to make them face their own limitations, their own imperfections. But it is a necessary thing, because in that exposure comes growth. In that destruction comes a chance for rebirth. You didn't do this to be cruel. You didn't do it to tear them down. You did it because they needed to see the truth. They needed to see that their own fragility was their undoing. They needed to face the darkness within themselves before they could ever hope to move beyond it. But they're not ready. Not yet. They're too consumed by their own fear, their own shame, to even begin the journey of self-discovery. They thought they were invincible. They thought they were untouchable. But you've shown them that even the mightiest can fall. And now they're spiraling. They're losing control. They're drowning in the chaos they created. Every move they make is a desperate attempt to reclaim what they lost. But it's too late. The damage is done. The truth is out, and there's no turning back. They'll try to put on a brave face. They'll try to regain their composure. But deep down they know they're lost. The foundation they built their life on is crumbling beneath them. They can't escape the truth you revealed. And every day it eats away at them. Every second is a reminder that they are not who they thought they were. They are not the powerful force they once believed themselves to be. They are weak. And you exposed that weakness. You made them confront it. And now they have to live with the consequences. In their desperation, they'll try to find someone or something to blame. They'll try to shift the responsibility onto others, onto circumstances, onto anything that can give them an excuse for their downfall. But the truth is this: they have no one to blame but themselves. They created this mess. They built their own empire of lies and deceit. And now that empire is crumbling because they never took the time to truly understand themselves. They were so busy trying to control the world around them that they never stopped to look inward. They never realized that their own weakness was their greatest enemy, and now that weakness is their undoing. You exposed it, and they can't handle it. It's a painful thing to watch someone spiral like this, to see them lose everything they once held dear, to watch them fall from grace. But don't mistake their downfall for victory. Don't think that because they are suffering, because they are struggling, that you've won. This isn't about winning. It's not about tearing someone down just for the sake of it. This is about truth. This is about revealing the darkness that lurks beneath the surface. This is about forcing someone to confront who they really are. And that's not something you do out of malice. That's something you do out of necessity. Because sometimes people need to be broken before they can rebuild themselves. Sometimes they need to be forced to face the reality of who they've become before they can ever hope to change. But change doesn't come easily. Change is a painful process, and for them, it will be a long and difficult road. They will try to find comfort in their old habits, their old ways of thinking, but deep down they will know that they can never go back. They can never return to the person they once were. They've been exposed, and that exposure will haunt them for the rest of their days. It will follow them wherever they go. It will linger in the back of their mind every time they look at themselves in the mirror. They will never be able to escape the truth you revealed, and that is their punishment. That is the consequence of their own weakness. But here's the thing. You didn't expose their weakness to punish them. You didn't do it because you wanted to see them suffer. You did it because they needed to be exposed. They needed to see the truth. They needed to confront their own fragility. They needed to understand that their own weakness was the root of their downfall. And that understanding is the first step towards redemption. If they ever hope to rise again, they will need to accept their weakness and learn from it. They will need to rebuild themselves from the ground up. But that's a process they will have to go through alone. You've done your part. You've exposed the truth. Now, it's up to them to decide whether they will embrace it or continue spiraling. You've done what was necessary. You've shown them the harsh reality they refuse to see. And now, they will have to live with that reality. Every day will be a struggle for them as they try to find their way out of the darkness. But whether they succeed or fail is not your concern. You've already won. You've already done what you needed to do. The rest is up to them. And as they spiral further into their own despair, they will eventually come to realize the truth. They will realize that their own weakness was not a curse, but a gift. Because without facing that weakness, without being exposed for who they truly are, they would never have had the chance to change. They would have continued down the path of destruction, unaware of the monster within. But now they have a chance to rebuild themselves into something stronger, something more resilient. So let them spiral. Let them suffer the consequences of their actions, because in the end, they will either rise or fall based on what you've shown them. You've exposed their weakness. And now, they have to decide what they will do with that knowledge. Will they crumble beneath it? Or will they use it as the fuel to rise from the ashes? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. They will never be the same again. And neither will you. They are spiraling fast. But you've already won. You see, the path you've set before them isn't one of easy redemption. It isn't paved with comfort or safety. It's a road filled with cracks, pits, and thorns. And yet, it's the only path left for them to walk. You've shattered the fortress they built around themselves, and now they stand exposed, vulnerable, fractured, disoriented. The false sense of power, the illusion of invincibility, has been torn down, and there is no more hiding from the truth. They might try to rebuild it. They might attempt to patch the walls with new lies, new masks, new distractions. But what they don't understand, what they cannot yet comprehend, is that this truth has already burrowed itself deep inside them, like a seed that will never stop growing, no matter how much they try to suppress it. The world they once controlled is slipping from their fingers. Every word they speak, every action they take, is now viewed through the lens of their weakness. They walk among people who once looked up to them, once believed in their strength, and now those same people see them for what they truly are. And it's not a pretty sight. This is the beginning of their downfall. This is the moment when they realize that no amount of charm, no amount of manipulation, no amount of control can keep the world from seeing them for what they really are. The truth you've exposed, it doesn't just fade away. It doesn't disappear the moment they attempt to hide from it again. No, it sticks to them like a shadow. Everywhere they go, they'll feel it lurking behind them, haunting their every step. They'll feel the weight of it in their conversations, the way people look at them, the way they interact with the world. It's suffocating. It's relentless. And it will not let them forget. But here's the beauty of it, the beauty in what you've done. You didn't need to tear them down with your own hands. You didn't need to destroy them physically or emotionally. You simply showed them the truth. You opened their eyes to the fact that they were never as strong as they thought they were. They were never untouchable. They were always fragile. And now, that fragility is out in the open for everyone to see. They are spinning out of control, but you're already past that moment. You've already won because you've done something that no one else could do. You've stripped away their illusions, and you've given them a mirror, one that reflects not the image they wanted to project, but the person they really are. And that is something that cannot be undone. They will spend their days trying to rebuild themselves, trying to regain the control they once had, but they will always be haunted by the image you've painted of them. You've shown them that they are not invincible. You've shown them that their weakness is something that will always follow them, something they cannot outrun. And here's the hardest part for them. The hardest part isn't realizing they are weak. That's only the beginning. The real challenge comes when they have to face the consequences of their weakness. You see, for most people, the idea of being vulnerable is unbearable. It's a crack in their foundation, something that forces them to confront everything they've worked so hard to cover up. It's the kind of truth that breaks people down because it goes beyond the surface. It goes to the core of who they are, what they've done, and who they've hurt in their pursuit of power. They will be forced to examine their own actions, their own mistakes, and the ways they've used others to prop themselves up. For them, this will be a journey of constant self-doubt. Every decision they make will be laced with the fear that they will expose themselves even further. They'll wonder if anyone sees them for what they truly are. They'll question their relationships, their friendships, their every interaction. And that fear will eat at them, gnawing away at their sense of self until they are nothing more than a shadow of the person they once were. They will try to retaliate. Of course, they will. That's what weak people do when their power is stripped away. They lash out in any way they can. They might try to manipulate the narrative, twist the truth, paint themselves as the victim in this scenario. They'll try to regain control by creating chaos, by turning the tables, by finding new ways to win people's approval. But it will be futile. Every attempt they make to regain their lost power will be another confirmation that they are no longer in control. The more they try, the further they sink into their own spiral. And with each desperate move they make, they will only expose themselves more. You see, their attempts to claw their way back to the top will only reveal their desperation, and desperation is a scent that cannot be masked. There's a certain elegance to the way you've played this game. It wasn't about brute force. It wasn't about showing them your power in an overt, obvious way. It was about subtlety. It was about seeing through the layers of their facade and exposing the very core of their being. You understood that true strength lies not in forcing others to see your power, but in showing them their own vulnerability. Because once that vulnerability is revealed, there is no going back. You exposed their weakness, and now they are forced to live with it, breathe it, suffer with it every single day. And no amount of posturing or pretending will ever change the fact that they are weaker than they ever thought possible. But you didn't do this out of malice. You didn't expose them to destroy them. You exposed them because it was necessary. You gave them the gift of truth, something that they could never see on their own. And whether they rise or fall from this point forward, that truth will always be there, like a scar that can never be erased. They'll try to hide it, they'll try to forget it, but it will always be a part of them. And deep down, they'll know that it's because of you. You were the one who made them face themselves, made them confront the reality they tried so hard to bury. But while they spiral, while they flail in their attempts to reclaim what they once had, you will continue to rise. Because the truth, the one that you now possess, is power. You've gained something that can never be taken from you, something that makes you invincible in your own right. You've proven that you are stronger than they ever were because you don't need to hide. You don't need to wear a mask to protect yourself. You've embraced your own flaws, your own weaknesses, and in doing so, you've become untouchable. The power is in your hands, and it always has been. So let them spiral. Let them twist in the chaos they've created for themselves, because while they spiral, you stand firm, you stand tall, and as they sink deeper into their own despair, you rise higher. You've already won, not because they've fallen, but because you've gained the one thing that can never be taken from you, the truth. And with that truth, you are unstoppable. They are spiraling fast, but you've already won. They are spiraling fast, but you've already won. When the illusion of control shatters, when the mask falls, when the foundation of their empire of lies cracks beneath their feet, they realize too late that they never truly had the power they thought they did. And you are the one who caused that fracture. You are the one who cracked the mirror and let them see the reflection of the person they've desperately tried to avoid. The truth, once revealed, has a power that can't be undone, and that power belongs to you now. You are not bound by the lies they spun, the facades they erected, or the manipulation they used to control the narrative. You are beyond all of that, because you saw through it all. The more they spiral, the more desperate they become, the more they expose their weakness, their desperation, their fears. They can't hide it anymore. They can't run from it. And while they flounder, while they struggle to make sense of the disaster they now find themselves in, you stand still, unmoving, unwavering. They may think they can fight their way out, build a new mask to wear, find a new angle to manipulate, but they're already lost. They're trying to repair a shattered vessel with no tools at their disposal, with nothing but broken pieces. They have nothing left to hide behind. Every attempt they make to regain control, to reclaim what they've lost, only further demonstrates their inability to rise above the truth that you revealed. They are spiraling, and they will continue to spiral, because the truth has them bound, and no matter how hard they try to escape, it will always be there. In their panic, they will lash out. It's inevitable. When people are backed into a corner, when they can no longer control the narrative, they try to regain power in any way they can. Expect retaliation. Expect them to try to twist the story, to paint you as the villain, to shift the blame, to manipulate anyone they can into thinking they are the victim. But here's the thing, it won't matter. The truth is a powerful thing, and once it has been exposed, it doesn't fade. No matter how much they try to distort reality, no matter how much they attempt to manipulate the people around them, the truth remains. You didn't have to fight them with the same tools they use. You didn't need to play their game of deceit. All you had to do was expose them. You had to show the world what they truly are, not what they pretended to be. And now, there's nothing they can do to erase that. The damage is done. While they try to regain control, you're in a different place entirely. They're trapped in a cycle of damage control, desperately trying to patch the holes in their ship that's sinking beneath them. They will try to discredit you. They'll attempt to turn people against you. They'll use everything at their disposal to claw their way back to their position of power. But you have already moved on. You've already won. The truth has set you free, and while they are tied down by their own lies, you are unburdened. You've taken away the one thing that defined their power, the ability to manipulate others into believing their false narrative. They can no longer deceive the world the way they once did, and that is your victory. It's easy to believe that winning is about defeating someone in a traditional sense, about overpowering them with your strength, your intellect, or your tactics. But true victory doesn't lie in tearing someone down. It lies in revealing the truth, and the truth you've exposed will haunt them for the rest of their days. They will never be able to escape it. It will linger in the air, in every conversation, in every interaction, in every moment of their existence. And while they try to run from it, while they try to patch up the holes in their identity, you will continue to move forward. They will be stuck in an endless loop of self-doubt, of trying to salvage a self-image that has already been destroyed. They will try to manipulate and control, but their efforts will be hollow, because deep down, they will know that they can never go back to the way things were. They will never regain the power they once had. And this is the cruel irony of their situation. The more they try to regain control, the more they expose themselves. Their actions will reveal their fear, their desperation, their inability to cope with what you've done to them, and it will make them weaker. They may think that they can hide it. They may think they can bluff their way through, pretending that everything is fine, that nothing has changed. But deep down, they will know that their empire is built on lies, and no matter how much they try to shore it up, no matter how many masks they wear, the cracks are still there. You've exposed them for what they truly are. And once that exposure happens, once the walls come down, there's no putting them back up. It's a slow process for them. The spiral doesn't happen overnight. It's a series of little missteps, a cascade of failures, a constant erosion of their former power. And with each passing day, they will feel the weight of the truth that you uncovered. It will burden them in ways they never expected. They will feel it in their interactions, in their relationships, in the way people look at them. The world will begin to see them differently, and they will never again have the same control over how they are perceived. And that is a fate worse than any defeat. Because the worst thing that can happen to someone who thrives on manipulation and control is losing the ability to shape their own narrative. You've stripped that away from them, and now they are adrift in a sea of their own lies. They will try to find some form of redemption, some way to reassert their power, but the cracks are too deep now. The world will never see them in the same way again. As they spiral, you stand strong. You have nothing to prove. You are the one who has been liberated. You are the one who has faced the truth, who has come out the other side stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And in the end, that's all that matters. Because the truth is your greatest weapon, and no one can ever take that from you. You have exposed the darkness within them, and now it's out in the open for everyone to see. And that, my friend, is a victory that no amount of manipulation or deceit can ever undo. As they struggle to maintain the facade, as they try to patch up their crumbling identity, you will continue to rise. Because you've already won. You've already revealed the truth, and no matter how much they try to fight it, no matter how many masks they wear, they can never erase what you've exposed. You are unstoppable. They are spiraling fast, but you've already won. In the end, the truth is a force that cannot be undone. You have exposed their weakness, and now they must live with it, trapped in their own spiral of deception. While they struggle to regain control, you stand unshaken, free from the lies that once defined them. You've already won, not through force, but through the power of truth. And as they continue to crumble, you rise unstoppable, with the knowledge that the real strength lies in knowing who you truly are.